What's up traders? Welcome back to another Panty lesson. Today's lesson is going to be covering how to create usual tables to draw onto our TradingView charts. Let us get into today's lesson now. This is a feature or functionality that was added to PineScript relatively recently, and it is something I have been implementing into my script that I use regularly, particularly scripts that I use to trade, such as the script you see here, which is my ultimate pullback indicator. You can see up here that I have a bunch of trade statistics drawing I have got how many trades. The Pine script has taken the average risk reward wins, losses, long wins, short win, percentage break even rate, break even quantity, break even rate, percentage wise or max adverse exertion and max favorable exertion, the average. This is the how far price goes on average towards our stop loss before going on to hit or take profit, or how far it goes towards our take profit before coming up and stopping us out. Then we have a win rate and a danger zone. This danger zone is basically our break even zone for this script, because we are using a one-to-one risk reward at the moment. Our danger zone is 50. So if we win 50 or less of the time, we are going to be losing money. And then down here we have a bit of a custom built backtesting system that I can put in my starting capital, and it will calculate my ending capital, my return both in dollar amount and pips and in percentage amount, and my max drawdown percentage. Now in today's lesson, I am not going to be covering how to build this out, because quite frankly it would take quite a while to build something like this. We are talking over an hour of coding potentially, and I cover a lot of these more advanced concepts and techniques in the indicators and strategies course. If you want to fast track your learning of your stuff and add this kind of functionality to our own scripts, but in today's lesson I am just going to be showing you how to draw a table onto your chart, and then you can populate that table or the cells of that table with whatever data you want. So to start with, I am going to hide the script and create a new blank script. All I have done is set overlay to true. Let us add this script to our chart and get started. So drawing tables onto your chart is not too difficult, but there are a few things we need to do in order to get it to our work. There are few steps involved, and I will walk you through them now. Oh, below the video there will be a link to the TradingView blog post that announced the release of this feature, and in that post they include a number of examples on how to use tables. I cannot cover every minor detail of tables because there is quite a lot we can do with them. Today I am just showing you a practical way to draw a basic table onto your chart, so that you can usually display information if you want to get really fancy with your tables. That is something that you can learn to do by checking out the examples over on that blog post, or just reading through the documentation on the TradingView reference manual, the Pine script reference manual. So let us get started. First thing we need to do in order to display information to a table is create our table. So to do that, we use the var operator. These are persistent variables. Hopefully you have learned about these by now if you are watching this lesson. This just means that our table will not be recreated on every new bar. We create the table once and then we can update it whenever we want to. So this is going to be a table variable. So var space table space, and then this is the name of the variable or the table ID. So for this I am just going to say my table, and my table is going to be set to table.new, and then this inbuilt function will create a new table for us. It takes a bunch of parameters. The first one is the position. So you can put your table in the, I think, the top right, bottom left, maybe top left. I am not sure, that is where the indicators tend to go. So I am not sure if you can put in top left, but you can put it in the middle top, middle bottom, middle, and sort of the center of your chart. If you type in here position dot control space, here is a list of all the location we can place our table, and we can place it in the top left, which is interesting. Anyway, the probably the best place for it would be the top right or bottom right for the most part, for most scripts. So for today's lesson we are going to stick with top right. You could also create this as a user setting, and the user could select where to place the table. But we will keep it simple today, and we will just hard code our table to be placed in the top right of our screen. The next thing we need to specify is how many columns and rows we want in our table. So for today's lesson, I am going to go with, let us go with 5 columns and 2 rows. So that will look something like this: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 columns and then 2 rows. So our table will look something like this, kind of like what my ultimate pullback indicator looked like at the start. And then we can fill the cells with whatever we want. We will get to that in a moment. So we have got 5 columns, 5 rows. There are a bunch of other parameters here we could select or work with. I am not going to touch any of them because we don't need to today. All I am going to do is set the border width, border underscore width to 1 pixel. So in between our cells will be a 1 pixel gap, or 1, whatever, this is 1 unit gap. So that is it. If I save the script, that should compile. Fine. There we go. So the next thing we need to do is update our table data. Now the best practice for this is to do this on the very last bar of your chart. So for this I check if bar state dot is last. So this is the very last bar on our chart. Then we update our table, and to do that we use the table.cell function, and this will update the cell of the given table at the given column and the given row. So for this we would pass my table, and for the very first cell we want to pass into 0 column and the 0 row, and then we need to pass in some text. So I am just going to create a new variable here called text1, and that is just going to be set to some text to begin with. Then we can specify the width and height if we want to. If you don't specify the width and the height, and that will be calculated automatically. So I remember leaving them blank for the most part unless you are doing some advanced formatting of your table. And then next up we have our background color and our text color. So you could set this to whatever you want to. I am going to set mine to color.black and my text color to color.white, and then we need to set our text parameters. So for this I am going to set text equals txt1 comma, and now this should, if I save the script, create a table in the top right with some text. and this text could be anything. So we could say closing price backslash new line, and then we could add to string the current bar's close, save the script, and there we go. So this is a really handy way to display information onto the chart that you need either for your trading or for debugging. Your scripts can also be useful for that. So let us create a few more here. Let us do text to equals, and then we will say opening price to string open. Text 3 could be pip gain slash loss backslash new line to string, and then we could say close minus open, and then let us copy this table dot sale function a couple of times, and now we need to change our row and column values in order to set with sale to update. So for our second value here, let us change all our text to text 3. Let us set the row to 1, and then on the third one I will set our column to 1, and now if I save the script you can see that we have some more information here. So notice that we have a blank cell here. The reason for that is that this is our zero column. So as we add columns to this table, they shift to the left. So if we have got 5 columns here and we add in all 5 text values to these cells, this column will be 5 cells to the left. So that is important to note when building out your tables. Let us add a bunch of other information here in text 4. Let us set to EMA 50. EMA value is plus 2 string. We just say EMA close 50 text 5. Let us set that to RSI value backslash and to string RSI close 14, and let us copy this table cell function a couple more times, and so we need to flip our row numbers and column numbers, increment them by 1 basically for each cell. So we have got 0 0 0 1 1 0 1 1 2 0 2 1, and let us change all of our text values to the appropriate one. Let us create a text 6. Let us create another text 6. This can be the percentage change plus to string, and then we can say here change close divided by previous close times multiplied by 100, and then I need to wrap that in parenthesis, close that off, and that would work. Let us save the script, and we get a few errors here because we are using this under an if statement. If bar state dot is last, these inbuilt functions are not generating their value until the very last bar. We need to extract this from the scope. Could not find function or function reference EMA. To solve this error, we will discuss it here in detail. We will learn how to declare functions in the Pine script and how to use them in the most efficient way. We will talk about single line functions, multi-line functions, getting multiple outputs using just one function, etc. etc. We will see how to declare functions in TradingView Pine script. As I mentioned in the beginning, we will talk about the single line function declaration, multi-line function declaration. Then we will see some of the examples how to do that very important thing, which is multiple output function declaration and how to use them. It is a very important thing. And the last thing would be I will be building a crossover function. Although it is already present in the, I would say, inbuilt function in PineScript, but still we will make our own crossover function here, and then I will plot all these things on the plot. Let us start with the code now. So guys, the use of any function in PyScript or Python or any programming language is that we define it, we declare it in the beginning, and then we use it later, such that we don't need to repeat all those lines of the code again and again in the entire code. And similar to declaration of the functions we did in Python in my previous videos, we are going to do the same thing here in PyScript as well. As you already know, it starts with indicator, and then I am just writing my script here. If you remember in Python, what we used to do is default, and then we name that particular function, which is like say fun, fun function, and then we provide all the inputs into it, x comma y and then colon. But in PyScript it is a bit different. So what we do here is we use equal to and then greater than sign. This refers to defining or declaring a function. So the function is, for example, f of x comma y, right? And it is a single line function, and say we just want to do x plus y divided by 2. So that is it. This is how we can define a single line function. Now what we can do is say a1 is equal to function of open and close. So what it is going to do is it will take an average of open and close, and if we just plot a1 here, you will see, and let me just save it, declaring functions. If we add to the chart, we can see that this particular series has been plotted on this chart. You guys already know, if you write overlay is equal to true, you will see that this particular chart will come on this same chart. So you cannot see this, but yeah, it is actually overlapping on the already existing candlesticks. So this is the single line function. In order to write a multi-line function, what you need to do is here just press enter here and provide an indentation, that is by pressing a tab button. That is it. So this is a multi-line function. It is very useful. When the function is quite big in size, you need to introduce many variables in mid, and then you need to use it later. So in that case, we should actually write a multi-line function, because it is very easy to interpret and there is a very less possibility of errors. But in this case, you just see that although I have provided it into two lines, we can just do it in this one line as well. So I have written this line, and I am introducing a function called EMA spread. That is an example of how I am using a single line function. So EMA spread is the name of the function. Length is input number 1. Bars back is input number 2, and then after that I am introducing it by declaring it by using this particular operator, which is equal to and then greater than ta dot ema into bracket close comma length minus ta dot ema into bracket close comma length bracket close and then bars back. What it is doing is it is actually subtracting potential moving average of two different time intervals. That is a very basic function. But yeah, if you use it, let me just plot it here. For example, let me do it like this. Plot EMA spread, and rather than this, I will just write plot length say 40, bars back is 10. If we save it, you will see that in the end or something, yeah. So you can see somewhere around 0. It is we are getting a graph. We are getting a line graph. So because like it is subtracting to EMA, it is coming somewhere around 0 only. Now this particular function can be used for further analysis as well, and you do not need to write this line again and again. Now what if we want to get multiple outputs through just one function, multiple function? Then in that case we need to use a square bracket. So yeah, you can see I have written a function here which is fun x comma y. I am introducing some function is equal to greater than. It is a multi-line function. Why? Because I am actually using a lot of, I would say, variables. I am using two variables here, and that is why it is. It requires multiple lines. So a is equal to x plus y and b is equal to x minus y, and the output that I want is both a and b. So I want to like provide them in a square bracket. So now in order to like save it in different variables, we need to provide it in the same way. So where 1 comma where 2 is equal to function open comma close. This will be the same of these two variables, and in the end we just need to write function and in parenthesis fun bracket open comma close, or like whatever you want to provide it in the inputs, but the output will be a and b both. So variable var 1 is equal to 1 and var 2 is equal to b. Now let us just write crossover function. So we need to know, also we need to have a boolean true or false whenever the price crosses EMA value. For example, so in that case I am just writing a function here. Crossover is the name of the function. Inputs are price and length, and then EMA value is equal to TA dot EMA price comma length. Above is equal to price greater than EMA value. I would say it will be a boolean. So it is equal to price greater than EMA value. So whenever the price is greater than EMA value, it will be true. And I am using AND operator where the price of the last candle price or last bar price is less than the last bar EMA value. Then in that case only we get to know that it has crossed the EMA price and it is now above the EMA series. So it is a very simple concept. So again coming back to our table function, we need to write EMA function here. Here is our EMA function. So let us put this up here. EMA is equal to EMA close, RSI is equal to RSI close, and then change. We just say market change, and paste all that in there. Now this should compile without any warnings or errors, and we should be getting our values up here. Perfect. Now the decimal value is a bit long, but actually while we are here, this is not really in the scope of this lesson. So we could add two more columns here if we wanted to, but I will leave it. There you get the idea, I am sure. Just make sure that you have enough columns in the table you created. If we were to set this column to 2 and save the script, we will get an error up. Here you can see that we have an error because column 2 is out of the table bounds. So as far as I know, there is nothing wrong with having too many columns in your table, but having too few is a problem. So just make sure that you have enough columns and rows in your table to be able to fill all the cells that you do in your script. So let me save that, and we are pretty much done just really quickly. One last thing I will show you to do just because you might find it interesting is how to change the background color and text based on. For example, let us change the percentage change background color to be green or red based on whether this is a negative value. So percent change is here, market change text 6. So down here we will change the background color to a conditional statement. We will say is market change greater than 0? If so, set the background color to green, otherwise set it to red, and we can leave the text color as white. That should be fine. Let us save the script, and there we go. Now the value is red. If we go to market that had a positive change, were there any on a Friday? Surely one market here, we go there. We go green percent change. So that will do. Obviously you can change the location. Let us change it to top left just to see what that looks like. It will probably look pretty bad because it will be covered by the ticker and everything. I don't think you would ever want to set it there, but you could do bottom right or bottom left. And for example, if you want to keep it out of the way of price action, maybe you want to set it to bottom underscore left. Save that, and now it is down here, which is not a bad spot for it. It keeps it out of the way of current price action. So that will do it for today. Obviously you can change the text color as well you want to, and there are a bunch of other parameters you can play around with here if you want to. And as always, just hold down control and click on this if you want to read up on what each parameter is capable of doing. Anyway, that will do it for today. Thank you for watching. I hope you found this lesson valuable and interesting in your own coding. Take care. Best of luck with your trading, and I will see you in the next lesson. Goodbye.